Imagine this. You are the most celebrated playwright in London, an absolute giant of the theater. And then, almost overnight, you're dismissed as a relic, totally old-fashioned, only to be rediscovered decades later as a true master. Well, that's the incredible roller coaster story of Terence Rattigan. And today, we're going to unpack his amazing rise, his dramatic fall, and his brilliant comeback.
And this quote right here? It just nails his genius. See, Rattigan's plays weren't really about the big, loud arguments. They were about the silent battles happening underneath. He found all the drama in the quiet desperation, the hidden passions, and that crushing weight of what society expected from you. He was, without a doubt, a master of everything that goes unsaid.
So let's rewind back to his golden age. From the 1930s all the way through the 50s, Terence Rattigan wasn't just a playwright in England. He was the playwright. I mean, he was the toast of London, celebrated everywhere for his incredibly elegant style and his uncanny insight into the human heart.
So what was his secret sauce? Well, it wasn't about flashy plots or crazy twists. It was all about this elegant, almost invisible craftsmanship. He created these deeply complex characters, people who felt trapped between what they truly wanted and the strict rules of their world. The drama came from who they were, not just what was happening to them.
Okay, to really get a feel for his impact, we've got to look at the plays themselves. These weren't just hits, they were massive cultural events. They captured the whole emotional vibe of mid-20th century Britain. So let's dive into two of his most iconic works. First up, The Deep Blue Sea. You could argue this is his masterpiece. It's just a devastatingly honest look at the destructive power of obsessive love. And what's amazing is that it still feels incredibly raw and modern today. So at the center of this story is Hester Collier. She gives up everything, a respectable marriage, all her financial security, for this intense, passionate, but really volatile affair. And when that affair starts to crumble, she is left completely and utterly alone. It's just this stunning look at what happens when passion isn't enough, and it's a powerful statement on the very limited choices women had back then. All right, let's switch gears to another one of his huge successes, The Winslow Boy. This one is totally different. It's a courtroom drama, and it's based on a real-life story that had the entire country talking. This play really shows you his incredible range. It's all about a father who risks his family's entire fortune and the reputation, all to prove his son is innocent over the theft of a tiny postal order. It was never about the money, it was about the principle, about doing what is right. It really makes you ask, what's the true cost of justice? But then, the world shifted. As Britain rolled into the 1960s, a whole new wave of writers just stormed the stage, and they brought this raw, angry, in-your-face energy with them. All of a sudden, Rattigan's world of quiet desperation and polite society seemed completely out of touch. And you can really see the great divide here. On one side, you have Rattigan's well-made play, elegant, structured, full of emotional subtlety. But on the other side, you've got the new wave playwrights like John Osborne. They were dragging gritty, kitchen-sink reality onto the stage, tackling things like class struggle and social injustice head-on. And next to all that raw energy, Rattigan's nuance was suddenly dismissed as just being old-fashioned and, well, a little bit boring. And listen, the criticism was brutal. He was basically written off as a dinosaur from a bygone era, a writer who just wasn't relevant anymore. For a man who had been at the absolute pinnacle of his profession, this was a dramatic and, you have to imagine, a really painful fall from grace. But you know what they say? Fashion is fleeting, but genius is permanent. After years of being out in the critical wilderness, a funny thing happened. People started to rediscover Rattigan. They started realizing that the emotional power of his work hadn't faded one bit. So that's the big question, right? Why, after being so completely dismissed, what is it about his work that makes it feel so powerful and so relevant again today? What is the secret to his enduring appeal? Well, it really boils down to a few key things. First off, his themes. Love, loss, the search for identity, they're just universal. They never go out of style. Beyond that, there's this undeniable emotional honesty. We recognize the pain and the yearning in his characters. And finally, you just can't ignore the sheer quality of the writing. His plays are so perfectly built that they keep attracting the world's best actors and directors, which in turn sparks this whole new wave of interest. And make no mistake, this isn't just some dusty academic discussion. His plays are constantly being revived in major theaters all over the world. New generations are discovering his work, and they're finding themselves just as captivated as audiences were way back in the 1950s. So, what does this all add up to? What is the lasting legacy of Terence Rattigan? And why should we still be paying attention to his work today? Ultimately, I think it's this. Rattigan reminds us that the biggest dramas in our lives are often the internal ones. His legacy is built on a profound understanding of the human heart, an emotional truth that cuts right through changing trends, and a level of craftsmanship that is still the gold standard.
And that brings us to one last thought. You know, we live in a world where we're encouraged to share everything, all the time. Rattigan built his entire career on the exact opposite, on the explosive power of repressed feelings and unspoken truths. So maybe the question he leaves us with is this. In our tell-all culture, have we forgotten the profound drama that lies in what we choose not to say?